you're here.
Hello, and welcome back to Stone Soup.
The world according to Sci-Fi Geeks. Although this is about cooking and Christmas, we're about to make Christmas cookies. This is a special recipe that nobody has but us.
We think.
Well, I'm pretty sure, because this is what I did to it.
True.
My mother-in-law gave my husband, her son, a recipe for fruitcake cookies. He'd had it, I guess, since he was a teenager. He would make the cookies himself. Well, one year, about 20 years ago, I guess, he turns to me and he says, "Can you fix this recipe? Because these cookies are awful thin." So I looked at it and I realized, well, there's almost no flour in it. This isn't a cookie recipe, it's a cake recipe. Mm-hmm. So I pondered and I said, oh, okay, we need to double the flour, and that'll change your balances, so you'll have to double the vanilla and the cinnamon.
Yes.
And we wound up with a fantastic cinnamony rich cookie that is just terrific. So I was lucky. Now this is a double batch. You wouldn't make this much, but when we put the recipe up on the board, or up on the site, it'll have both single batch and double batch on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of butter, softened butter, 3 cups of packed brown sugar. My sous chef here is going to go back and chop some pecans in just a minute.
Yes.
You know, I probably should put that in one at a time.
Quite possibly.
But this is very soft butter. This won't be a problem.
No. Basically, there tends to be one of 2 reactions to these cookies. People either love them or don't. Dad likes to tell a story of the time he brought some of these in to his office, and a coworker took one and apparently took all of her self-control not to spit the bite right back out.
But she couldn't do that because that would be impolite and stuff.
Yes.
And it was so nice of him to bring fresh baked cookies. And,
Yes.
and oh, God, I have to eat this thing and it's in my mouth and stuff. Apparently, he teased her about that for years.
He still brings batches into the office. That's one of the reasons we're doing a double batch, because this is going to make a boatload of cookies.
Yeah. Boatload.
No.
Now we add 6 eggs.
I might try and
What?
add those one at a time.
Why? That would be silly.
Because I am a silly person.
Okay, well, there you go.
I just thought it might mix easier.
Nah. Oh, I got it all, the sugar and the butter blended quite lovely while she was talking. Mm-hmm. I'll let you see this conglomeration in a minute since I blend this.
Yes. Right, you want to mix it up some more anyway. When you're mixing in the raw eggs, those of you who cook from scratch may know, it can look a little ooky.
By the way, with your butter, you have to let your butter, soften. I mean, you can soften it in the microwave. I've done it many times. Just make sure you only soften and don't melt. Mm-hmm. I actually tried to make cookies with melted butter one time. It does not work.
Actually, one time I was making sugar cookies, and I melted the butter partially, and it did work.
Partially. If you had done it all the way.
Oh, yeah, into a straight puddle. No, that wouldn't work.
It will not work. It won't blend properly. It won't have any proper body. Mm-hmm. And putting it in the refrigerator afterward, thinking that, then it'll solid up, which is what I did, didn't work either. So don't do that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the brown sugar, the butter, and the eggs. Mm-hmm. Ain't that gorgeous? Mm-hmm. It's just this beautiful mass. Probably there's lumps of brown sugar in here because, well, brown sugar does that. Oh,
yes.
I used golden brown sugar, but you can use any level of brown sugar you want, from light to dark.
Mm-hmm. I'll step back now and chop pecans.
My husband just happens to prefer the golden. Mm-hmm. Right, the one with the mouth on her is going to be out of here instead of working with me. Okay.
Well,
then you add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I tend to put a lot less salt in things than most people do. Yeah. 1 teaspoon. Imagine the horror of discovering that you thought that was the teaspoon and it was the tablespoon. Although I recently saw a cookie recipe that actually called for, dig this, a tablespoon of salt. I don't think so. And this is actually the quarter because I cut back on the salt. Okay. And that's the salt. And then you have cinnamon. You have 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Well, actually, before we do the cinnamon, let's do the baking soda. Baking soda. It needs 2 teaspoons baking soda. Teaspoon. Very important that you have the actual right measure for this. 1 potato. 2 potatoes. What the heck was that? Oh. Dogs in the next room. Christmas tree, not a good combination.
No.
Those little buggers keep trying to mark my table. You can imagine what they're going to do with a tree in the house. By the way, we've got the coolest tree you've ever seen. Except for the fact that it's crooked in its insides and wants to fall over. It's the most beauteous, biggest tree we've ever had. With a tip of the hat to Bill and Gretchen Roper, we call it Treezilla. Okay, blended in those two things. Now back to the cinnamon. Gotta have the cinnamon. According to this, 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. The easiest way to do that is that this is a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, so you just do that. Okay, it's all right if it's a little extra cinnamony. It ain't going to kill nothing. And then
You may have noticed the way we measure our spices.
Well, only cinnamon and vanilla. We're not crazy.
Well, no, but
Yeah. But we know how we like it and what we can doctor and what we can't. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Yeah, right. That's a tablespoon. I do know what I'm doing. La 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 la. Oops. That was actually supposed to go in the spoon. Time to stir this in. Okay, now, here's the biggie. This sucker takes 6 cups of flour. Well, the double batch does. A single batch only takes 3. I think the original amount was like 1.5 or 1 1/4, which is why it was so thin. 1. 2. No, I'm not going to put 6 cups of flour in all at once. That would be crazy. But I can do a 2 at a time. Count with me, children. 2. Mama has to stir now.
When
And of course,
you're
the
mixing
more-
in flour, you only do it 1 cup at a time, or you'll never be able to get it properly blended.
Yeah. Well, I did 2 cups to start with here.
Oh, well.
But that's because it was very, I got that properly blended. I think I might do 2 cups the next time and then do the last 2 one at a time. That'll speed things up for one thing.
Oh, yes. And the pecans were lightly toasted in the oven first.
That's why she was back there chopping them, because they'd been in the oven.
Now, for those of you who may not like fruitcake, you could stop the process here. Once you add the flour, just bake it up like that.
Or add the pecans and not the fruit. Then you've got a cinnamon-rich pecan cookie. 3.
The only limitations are your own
Get your
imagination.
butt in there. 4. You also notice I'm not sifting. Never have needed to on this. 4. Help me keep track now. I'm old and I sometimes have senior moments and forget. Okay. Getting there, getting there, getting there. 2 more cups. It's a good thing I got more flour behind me because we have other cookies to make tonight. I'm using up all the flour.
Yep. I will be making sugar cookies later. We talked about it, but we figured everybody has a sugar cookie recipe, and it's not that difficult, so you probably wouldn't really want to watch me do that.
However, there is something special about our sugar cookie recipe. We got it from Cookie Monster.
Yes.
For reals. This will be the 6th cup of flour. I'm not putting it in yet. I'm just measuring it out at the moment. That's what you got refrigerators for, okay? 1 last cup. Let me just move these over here. As I stir, it's coming up the spoon and getting on my hand.
Dale will do that. By the way, all this time, the oven has been preheating at 350 degrees.
You see, although I'm not going to do, bake a whole batch of cookies tonight, I have to do a test with my cookie dough scoops to figure out which size, because the cookie dough scoops are new, to see which size I need to use to make cookies for the office.
Yeah, you remember those scones we made? That was a cookie dough scoop we were using. We have that one, and we have a slightly smaller one.
Well, I figure those scones are pretty big for a cookie. Yeah.
Dad disagrees, but
Well, he would.
these
This
are like
is
his favorite cookies ever.
Okay, now we got our cinnamon-rich cookie dough.
Now, I was saying, at this point, you could just stop here or add the nuts and then cook it.
I've done that. We did not do that.
We didn't see that. It didn't happen.
Where's the rest of it? Pecans. Just bring the cutting board up here. She chopped me 1 cup, but this is a double batch, so we need a little more.
This might just be another cup.
Yeah, I think it is. Was that the rest of the toasted ones?
Uh-huh.
Well then. And now we have a cinnamon-rich pecan cookie. Mm-hmm. And that could be delightful. But it's not enough. No.
Ooh. After all, these are fruit cake cookies.
Right? Because it's like Christmas and stuff, and you got to have fruit cake at Christmas.
Yes.
It's the only time of the year you can ever get anybody to eat fruitcake. But first we have mixed fruit. Again, because it's a double batch, there's going to be 2 of these. Mm-hmm. The mixed fruit has, well, some red stuff and some green stuff and some white stuff. If you can read them a little bit right, and you can tell them what all this is. And it's candied. This is candied fruit, so we're adding more sweet in here. Mm-hmm. Because God forbid, 3 cups of sugar just isn't sweet enough. I need a spoon.
Orange peel, cherries, lemon peel, pineapple, citron, corn syrup, and then we go into the not fruit stuff. But
that's the fruit. And now it's going to be ever so much prettier. Mm-hmm.
One thing you can say with these cookies, they're very colorful.
The interesting thing is most of the stuff is chopped fine, except for the cherries.
Yeah.
Look at this. The cherries are whole. How cool is that? Oh, no. How cool is that?
Yeah, who knows?
Now there's 2 of those, and then a little extra orange peel. Because
see, how did you realize it was orange peel? I never read the label before.
Well, it's just zest. Only it's chopped instead of shredded.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the candying has settled to the bottom.
Yes.
One year, we looked and looked and looked for the candied fruit and could not find it. Mm-hmm. So ever since then, we get the candied fruit as soon as we see it.
Yes.
Instead of waiting until whenever. We just say, okay, there's candied fruit, get it. Mm-hmm. After all, it's not like it's not going to,
laugh.
Not going to, it's not like it's going to spoil in the cupboard. In the pantry, excuse me. Oh, I need a bigger spoon. I'll be showing you this gorgeous conglomeration in just a minute. Mm-hmm. It always amazes me that you can actually get all this stuff stirred into the dough.
Seriously.
And now we have a mountain of cookie dough. I can't guess how much this is, but there must be close to 10 pounds of it.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness that people at Dad's office like these, or it would never get all eaten. Well, it would, but boy, would Dad be full by the end of it.
Fortunately, all this dried fruit, take a while to guess what it does to you. Oh, otherwise you'd die. Now, like I said, we're going to test the cookie dough scoop sizes to figure out what we want to do. We'll make 2 of these. This is the bigger one. Sudden, burst of intelligence there. And 2 of those. You want to do it?
Sure.
And now I will move this into a smaller container, but not a small container. It's a smaller than this container, so I can put it in the refrigerator. And for the next couple of days, periodically we'll make cookies. And here the cookies are. That's 15 minutes at 350 degrees, by the way.
Yes.
I actually gave them just a little longer because those big ones, they just weren't quite done. And I think we're going to go with that smaller size because the big ones are just humongous.
A bit, yes.
But, and they smell fabulous. If you've ever smelled something with vanilla and cinnamon in it, cookies. So, now you know.
Mm-hmm. Fruitcake cookies for Christmas.
Yay.
Even for people who don't like fruitcake. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.